Welcome. You've found your way here, maybe by accident, maybe on purpose, or maybe guided by thoughts, to tangle to unwind on their own. Whether your mind feels heavy with wonder, or you're simply hoping to fall asleep to the low hum of the unknown, you're in the right place. This is Sleepy Science, a quiet corner of the universe where curiosity meets calm. There's no shouting here, no rush, just a soft exploration of beautifully baffling corners of reality. Tonight's journey is called Thoughts So Deep You'll Forget What's Real. Together, we'll gently wander through mysteries that science has touched, but not quite solved, like the strange phenomenon where particles vanish and reappear, as if the universe looks away for just a moment, or the double-slit experiment, where reality itself seems to behave differently when you're watching. And the question of consciousness, the silent observer behind your thoughts, that no microscope has ever found. There are no tests here, no answers required, only wonder and a steady drift into deep, comforting thought. So where are you? Tonight, curled up in bed, lying under the stars, or just letting the quiet fill the room around you? If you feel this space is made for you, for curious, quiet minds, you can gently tap the like or subscribe. It helps others like you find their way here, without needing to search so hard. Now, take a deep breath, let the weight of the day soften and follow the stars into the strange, slow waters of thought. Let's begin.
You wake up, just as you always do. The sun, a warm, golden hand, reaches through your window and traces patterns on the wall. You stretch, a familiar symphony of popping joints, and the scent of freshly brewed coffee wafts from the kitchen. This is real, isn't it? This tangible world, these immediate sensations, they are undeniable. You see the vibrant green of the leaves outside. You hear the distant chirp of a bird. You feel the cool tile beneath your bare feet. Every single one of these experiences feels direct, unmediated, an unfiltered stream of information flowing straight into your consciousness. We often live our lives under this assumption. What we perceive is precisely what is, a perfect mirror reflecting external reality. But what if this common assumption, this bedrock of our daily existence, is nothing more than a meticulously crafted illusion? What if the very act of seeing or hearing isn't a passive reception of data, but an active, instantaneous invention? The unsettling truth is that your brain doesn't just process reality, it creates it, millisecond by millisecond. You're not seeing the world as it is, but as your brain predicts it should be. An internal hallucination constantly refined by incoming sensory data. Think of your brain not as a camera, but as a brilliant, lightning-fast novelist. A camera just captures whatever light hits its lens. Your brain, on the other hand, is constantly writing a story, filling in the blanks, anticipating the next scene. When light hits your eyes, it's not a complete picture. There are blind spots where the optic nerve connects, gaps in information, and ambiguities everywhere. Your brain doesn't see these gaps. It seamlessly interpolates them, guessing what should be there based on past experiences and expectations. It's like a predictive text algorithm on steroids, running in real time. We might think we're seeing continuous motion, but our eyes actually jump around, making God's your brain stitches these rapid, jerky movements into a smooth, flowing video, inventing the transitions between each snapshot. It's a grand, internal theater where the show never stops, and you are both the sole audience and the unwitting director. This profound implication shakes the very foundation of what we call objective reality. If what you perceive is largely a construct of your own mind, then how much of your experience is truly external, and how much is internal projection? Does the color red exist outside your perception, or is it merely a neural interpretation of specific wavelengths of light? What if the very texture of the table under your hand, the melody of your favorite song, or the warmth of the sun on your skin are not inherent properties of the world, but intricate sensations painted by your brain onto the canvas of consciousness? Are you truly interacting with the world? Or are you interacting with your brain's exquisite, convincing model of it? Yet, this unsettling truth isn't meant to plunge you into a solipsistic void. Instead, it offers a radical reframing, a powerful form of liberation. Understanding that your perception is an active creation means you hold an incredible, often unconscious, power. You are not just a passive recipient of reality's dictates. You are an active participant in its very manifestation within your own mind. This isn't to say you can simply wish away a wall, but it implies that your expectations, your beliefs, and your attention profoundly shape the reality you inhabit. You can choose to focus on different aspects, to seek out new patterns, to challenge the automatic assumptions your brain makes. So, the next time you look at the world, truly look. Recognize that the vibrant tapestry of your experience is not merely given, but actively woven, thread by luminous thread, by the tireless loom of your own mind. What new realities might you begin to perceive if you understood the incredible power of your own brain to invent them? You've just grappled with the idea that your brain is a master illusionist, painting your present reality with strokes of prediction and past experience. This isn't just about the colors you see or the sounds you hear. It extends far deeper into the very fabric of your continuous self. You feel a sense of self, a singular you that woke up this morning, that read the last words, that is reading these now. This you carries memories, aspirations, fears, a seamless narrative stretching from your earliest recollections to this very second. We often assume that our past is a fixed, immutable record, stored perfectly in some mental archive, ready to be recalled with pristine accuracy, guiding our every action in the present. It feels like an undeniable tether, connecting who you were to who you are. But what if that tether isn't as rigid as it seems? What if your memories, the very bedrock of your identity, are not static files, but rather dynamic, malleable narratives, constantly being rewritten and reinterpreted in the light of your present? The unsettling truth is that every time you recall a memory, you don't retrieve an exact copy, you reconstruct it. And in that reconstruction, the memory itself is altered, subtly or profoundly, influenced by your current emotions, your present knowledge, and even the context in which you're remembering. It's like pulling a book from a shelf, reading a chapter, and then, upon returning it, finding that some of the words have rearranged themselves, or new sentences have appeared, reflecting your most recent thoughts. Imagine your memory isn't a pristine library, but a constantly updated Wikipedia page. Each time you access it, you're not just reading, you're also potentially editing. When you remember your first day of school, for instance, you're not pulling up a perfect video playback. Instead, your brain is taking fragmented sensory details, emotional imprints, and current perspectives, and weaving them into a coherent story. Perhaps you now remember your teacher as stricter than she was, because you just had a difficult interaction with a supervisor. Or maybe that awkward moment from your teenage years suddenly seems funnier, softened by years of distance and self-acceptance. These subtle alterations accumulate, shaping not just the memory itself, but your interpretation of your entire past. We collectively do this. How many historical narratives have been re-evaluated, not because new evidence emerged, but because society's values shifted, causing us to reread the past through a different lens? The profound implications of this concept ripple through your sense of identity and even your concept of free will. If your past is always in flux, continually being updated by your present, then who exactly is the you that is remembering? Is it the you of the moment the event occurred, or the you of now, filtering it through a lifetime of accumulated experiences? Does this mean your true self is an ever-shifting target, or is it the continuous process of remembering and re-remembering that defines you? If your past informs your present choices, but your present constantly reforms your past, where does the causal chain truly begin? Are your decisions rooted in an objective history, or in a constantly evolving story you tell yourself about that history? This unsettling truth, far from being a cause for despair over lost certainty, is a powerful invitation to conscious authorship. You have the remarkable ability to actively participate in the shaping of your own narrative. By understanding that memory is not fixed, you can choose to reframe past challenges as learning opportunities, past failures as detours, and past pains as catalysts for growth. You can consciously choose to focus on the lessons learned, the resilience gained, and the strength forged. You are not merely a prisoner of your past, but its ongoing editor, its evolving storyteller. So, reflect on your memories, but do so with a newfound awareness. Recognize that the story of you is not a finished manuscript, but a living document, evolving with every conscious breath. What kind of narrative are you choosing to construct about your own journey, knowing that each recollection subtly rewrites the script of who you are and who you are becoming? You've already wrestled with the idea that your perception isn't a direct window to reality, but a vivid, internal tapestry woven by your brain. You've also confronted the unsettling fluidity of your own memories, realizing that your past is not a fixed archive but a continually rewritten narrative. Now, let's delve deeper into a concept that underpins both of these truths: the astounding, often invisible influence of your own thoughts on the very fabric of your perceived reality. You probably assume your thoughts are purely internal, private whispers within your skull, reflecting the world rather than shaping it. We tend to believe thoughts are just reactions, echoes of what's already out there, that the external world dictates our internal state. But what if the relationship is far more intricate, more circular, even fundamentally reversed in ways you hadn't considered? What if your thoughts are not merely reflections, but powerful, proactive forces that organize and prioritize the reality you experience, literally determining what registers as real to you? The unsettling truth is that your mind acts as a sophisticated filter, a master conductor, selecting which instruments in the vast orchestra of data around you will play, and which will remain silent. The world bombards you with an unimaginable amount of information every second: sounds, sights, sensations, smells, electromagnetic waves, subatomic interactions, yet your conscious awareness only processes a tiny fraction of it. What determines that fraction? Your thoughts, your beliefs, your expectations. Imagine your brain not just as a novelist, but as a supremely selective editor for a sprawling, infinite manuscript. There are millions of pages, but you only get to read the ones your editor deems relevant. If you're looking for reasons to be grateful, your mind will suddenly highlight every small kindness, every fortunate turn. If you're convinced that everyone is against you, you'll inevitably notice every slight, every perceived betrayal, even where none was intended. This isn't just about attitude, it's about active neural filtering. Your reticular activating system, RAS, a network of neurons in your brainstem, acts as a bouncer for your consciousness, letting in only the information it deems important based on your current focus, interests, and beliefs. If you buy a new car, you suddenly see that exact make and model everywhere. Were they always there? Yes, but your RAS wasn't flagging them as important until your mind gave it the instruction to do so. Your thoughts literally direct your attention, and what your attention focuses on becomes your reality. We often experience this as a bias, but it's more fundamental. It's how your brain constructs your perceived world. The profound implications of this concept are staggering. If your thoughts are the lens through which you perceive reality, then the quality of your internal monologue directly dictates the quality of your experience. Does this mean you can simply think away poverty or illness? Not in a simplistic, magical sense. But it does mean that your mental framework profoundly impacts your resilience, your capacity for finding solutions, and your emotional landscape. If your thoughts are constantly replaying narratives of scarcity and limitation, you will instinctively filter for evidence that confirms this reality, even when opportunities for abundance are present. If your thoughts are dominated by fear, your RAS will be hyper-attentive to threats, making the world seem a much more dangerous place. Is the world inherently threatening, or is your internal filter prioritizing those signals? What kind of world are you constructing for yourself through the stories you constantly tell in your mind? This unsettling truth, rather than being a burden, is an immense wellspring of empowerment. You are not a helpless recipient of reality. You are its architect, at least within the confines of your own perception. You have the power, perhaps more than you ever realized, to intentionally direct your thoughts, to choose your focus, and thereby to reshape the very reality you experience. It begins with conscious awareness of this internal editor. You can train your RAS, consciously setting intentions for what you want to see, what you want to find. It's like programming your own mental search engine for life. So, listen to the constant hum of your own thoughts, for they are not just idle whispers, they are the active instruments of your personal reality orchestra. What kind of symphony are you conducting? And knowing this, what new melodies might you choose to play? You've navigated the unsettling realization that your perception is a construct, and your memories are ever-shifting narratives, all powerfully influenced by the unseen orchestra of your thoughts. Now, let's confront one of the most fundamental yet elusive aspects of your existence: time. You experience time as a relentless, linear progression, a river flowing steadily from a defined past, through a fleeting present, into an uncertain future. Seconds tick into minutes, minutes into hours, days into years. This forward march feels undeniable, a universal constant that binds all of us. We instinctively plan for tomorrow, regret yesterday, and live in the seemingly solid reality of now. But what if this intuitive understanding of time is deeply flawed, a persistent illusion crafted by your consciousness? What if the past and the future don't truly exist in the way we commonly imagine, and the present moment is far more complex and fleeting than you can possibly grasp? The unsettling truth, from various scientific and philosophical perspectives, is that the linear flow of time might be an emergent property of our minds, a way for our brains to organize information, rather than an objective reality out there in the universe. Imagine time not as a river you're flowing down, but as a vast, frozen landscape. Every point in that landscape, every past event, every future possibility already exists, laid out across a four-dimensional continuum known as space-time. We, as conscious beings, simply experience this landscape by moving our spotlight of awareness across it, creating the sensation of movement and change. This is the block universe theory, a concept embraced by many physicists, stemming from Einstein's theories of relativity. For an observer outside of our four-dimensional existence, your birth, this very moment, and your eventual death would all be equally real, coexisting in that immutable block. The now you inhabit is less a single point and more like a subjective experience, a brief flicker of consciousness illuminating a tiny segment of this unchanging reality. We, with our limited human perception, interpret this sequential illumination as the passage of time. The profound implications of this idea are truly mind-bending. If all moments always exist, does free will truly exist? Or are all your choices, past, present, and future, already laid out? Does this mean that the you who is reading this now, and the you who will read the next paragraph, are just different slices of the same, unchanging entity in space-time? What does it mean for regret, for hope, for the very concept of cause and effect, if the future isn't something yet to be determined, but something that already is? Our emotional lives are deeply intertwined with the passage of time, anticipation for what's to come, nostalgia for what's been. If time is an illusion, are these emotions merely echoes of a fabricated journey? This unsettling truth, while initially disorienting, offers an extraordinary reframe. If the past and future are always there, then the power of your present moment becomes paramount. It's not just a fleeting instant before it vanishes. It's the only point of conscious agency you truly possess. This perspective encourages you to shed the heavy burdens of past mistakes and future anxieties, understanding that they are, in a sense, always accessible but not necessarily binding. It empowers you to focus on the conscious choice you make right now, to fully immerse yourself in the ever-present now, for that is where your experience of reality is actively being constructed. So, the next time you feel time slipping through your fingers, pause. Consider that the flow is a grand, intricate dance within your mind, a mechanism for your consciousness to navigate an eternal, unchanging tapestry. What might it feel like to truly live in that eternal now, unburdened by the illusions of a past that's gone and a future that hasn't arrived? You've journeyed through the unsettling landscapes of subjective perception, fluid memory, the thought-governed nature of your reality, and the illusion of linear time. Each step has chipped away at the solid ground of what you once believed to be undeniably real. Now, we arrive at the most profound and perhaps most disorienting concept of all, your consciousness itself. You feel it, don't you? That inner light, that subjective experience of being you, the seat of your thoughts, feelings, and awareness. It feels undeniably singular, localized within your skull, a private universe accessible only to you. We commonly assume consciousness is an emergent property of the brain, a complex byproduct of neural activity, a phenomenon that ceases to exist when the brain does. But what if this deeply ingrained assumption, this intuitive feeling of a contained self, is another grand illusion, a profound misunderstanding of consciousness's true nature? What if your individual awareness isn't merely a product of the brain, but rather something more fundamental, something that the brain tunes into, like a radio receiver picking up a broadcast? The unsettling truth, explored in various philosophical and some scientific theories, is that consciousness might not be confined to your skull at all, but could be a more pervasive, even universal, phenomenon that your brain filters and processes. Imagine your brain not as the source of your consciousness, but as a highly sophisticated prism. Light, which is analogous to consciousness, exists all around us, an undifferentiated field of potential awareness. Your brain, with its unique structure and synaptic connections, acts to refract this universal consciousness, bending it, focusing it, and shaping it into the distinct, individual you that experiences the world. Just as a radio doesn't create the music it plays, but merely picks up and decodes existing electromagnetic waves, your brain might be decoding a signal of consciousness that extends far beyond your physical form. We see echoes of this in quantum physics, where the act of observation seems to influence reality, suggesting a deeper interconnectedness between mind and matter that transcends simple material explanations. Could this observer effect be a hint at a more fundamental field of consciousness that we are all part of? The profound implications of this concept shatter the boundaries of your perceived self. If consciousness is universal, then what happens when your brain ceases to function? Does your individual stream of awareness simply merge back into the larger ocean of consciousness, like a drop rejoining the sea? Does this imply a form of continuity beyond the physical body, not in a mystical sense, but as a logical consequence of consciousness being fundamental rather than emergent? What does this mean for the concept of individuality? Are we truly separate, or are we distinct expressions of a larger, interconnected awareness? Our entire Western philosophy is built on the premise of an individual, separate self. If this premise crumbles, how does it reshape our understanding of empathy, collective action, and even our place in the cosmos? This unsettling truth, far from being an abstract thought experiment, offers a deeply liberating and awe-inspiring perspective. If you are not just a contained consciousness but a focused expression of a universal field, then your potential, your connection to everything, is far grander than you ever imagined. It reframes suffering not as an isolated burden, but as part of a shared experience. It inspires a profound sense of interconnectedness, reminding you that the other is not truly separate, but merely another unique refraction of the same fundamental awareness. You are a unique note in a cosmic symphony, yet undeniably part of the entire composition. So, when you next feel that undeniable spark of awareness within you, pause and consider its origins. Is it merely a flicker from within the confines of your skull, or is it a localized manifestation of something infinitely larger, something that connects you to the very fabric of existence? What shifts in your understanding of self and others might occur if you truly embraced the possibility that you are not just in the universe, but that the universe is, in some profound way, in you? You've journeyed through the unsettling depths of your own mind, questioning perception, memory, thoughts, power, time's linearity, and even the very nature of consciousness itself. Each realization has gently, or perhaps forcefully, loosened your grip on what you assumed was solid reality. Now, let's turn our gaze outward, beyond the confines of your skull and even beyond our planet, to the vast, silent expanse of the universe. You've likely grown up with images of distant galaxies, swirling nebulae, and the quiet awe of starlight. We intuitively believe that the universe, while immense, is fundamentally knowable, governed by discernible laws, and perhaps, somewhere out there, teeming with other intelligent life, ready to make contact. The vastness feels empty, but full of potential. A grand stage awaiting communication. But what if this pervasive feeling, this inherent expectation of cosmic companionship, or eventual understanding is a profound human bias? What if the universe isn't just vast, but also fundamentally silent in a way that challenges our deepest need for connection? The unsettling truth, captured in what's known as the Fermi paradox, is that despite the immense size and age of the universe, and the statistical likelihood of countless planets hosting life, we have yet to find any conclusive evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence. It's a silence so profound that it borders on deafening. A cosmic void where we expected a bustling choir. Imagine the universe not as a grand, interconnected network of civilizations, but as an ancient, sprawling forest where you are the only one who seems to be speaking. Every tree, every leaf, every patch of soil is just matter, following the laws of physics, completely indifferent to your existence. We send out radio signals, listen to faint whispers from the cosmos, and peer through powerful telescopes, expecting a response, a sign. But all we receive is the hiss of background radiation, the static of unburdened space, the echo of nothingness. Where are they? Why the silence? Perhaps advanced civilizations are incredibly rare, extinguishing themselves before they can reach us. Perhaps they are so advanced they operate on scales we can't comprehend. Or they've simply moved beyond physical forms and communication methods we can detect. Or, most chillingly, perhaps there's a great filter ahead of us, or behind us, a barrier so immense that very few species ever cross it, explaining why we find ourselves alone on this tiny blue dot. This silence isn't just a lack of data, it's a profound, existential question mark that reverberates through our very being. The profound implications of this cosmic silence stretch far beyond mere scientific curiosity. If we are truly alone, or effectively alone, in this immeasurable expanse, what does that say about our significance? Are we merely a fleeting cosmic accident, a brief spark of consciousness in an otherwise indifferent void? Does it diminish our struggles, our triumphs, our dreams, if there's no grand cosmic audience, no fellow travelers to share our story with? Our collective drive to explore, to understand, to reach out, stems from a deep-seated desire, not just for knowledge, but for connection. The universe's silence challenges this fundamental human yearning, forcing us to confront a potential reality where we are the only ones asking the questions. This unsettling truth, while initially isolating, can be a crucible for profound self-realization and a powerful call to action. If the universe is silent, then the burden and the glory of consciousness, of creativity, of love, of meaning, falls squarely on us. We are not awaiting a grand revelation from beyond. We are the revelation. The silence doesn't diminish our existence. It amplifies its preciousness. It transforms our fleeting lives, our struggles, and our capacity for beauty into something truly extraordinary, perhaps unique in this corner of the cosmos. Our narratives, our art, our scientific discoveries, they aren't just for us. They are the only echoes in the void. So, when you look up at the night sky, bathed in the quiet majesty of countless stars, let the silence speak to you not of emptiness, but of unparalleled significance. What responsibilities does this profound cosmic solitude place upon us, if we are indeed the only ones listening, the only ones speaking? You've faced the unsettling silence of the cosmos, the profound quiet that challenges our inherent human need for connection beyond our singular existence. This silence isn't just about the absence of extraterrestrial voices. It extends to the very composition of the universe itself, revealing a deeper, more fundamental mystery. You perceive the universe through the stars, the galaxies, the radiant nebulae, all made of the familiar atoms that comprise you, your home, and your planet. This visible matter, the stuff we can touch, see, and measure, feels like the entirety of existence, the grand stage upon which everything unfolds. But what if this visible, tangible universe is merely a fleeting shimmer on the surface of something vastly more pervasive and fundamentally unknown? What if the vast majority of reality operates entirely outside our perception, exerting a silent, gravitational influence that shapes everything we do see? The unsettling truth is that the universe you perceive, the one made of atoms and light, accounts for less than 5% of its total mass and energy. The remaining 95% is composed of mysterious, invisible substances known as dark matter and dark energy. Substances we cannot directly observe, touch, or even fully comprehend. They are the unseen titans dictating the cosmos while remaining utterly hidden from our senses. Imagine trying to understand an iceberg by only looking at the tiny tip that rises above the water. You see the gleaming white peak, the solid structure, and you assume that's the whole story. But beneath the surface, hidden from view, lies the colossal, immense bulk of the ice, silently guiding the iceberg's drift, anchoring its stability, and dwarfing the visible part by many orders of magnitude. This is our universe. The stars and galaxies are the visible tip, while dark matter is the submerged mass, providing the gravitational scaffolding that holds galaxies together, preventing them from flying apart. We infer its presence only by its gravitational pull on visible matter and dark energy. That's the invisible, omnipresent force pushing the universe apart at an accelerating rate. An anti-gravity of sorts, responsible for the universe's ever-increasing expansion. It's not just empty space. It's a dynamic, unseen engine driving cosmic destiny. We don't know what it is. We don't know where it comes from, and it represents roughly 68% of the universe's total energy density. The profound implications of this pervasive invisibility are staggering. If we can only perceive such a minuscule fraction of reality, what does that say about our understanding of existence? Are our scientific models, based overwhelmingly on the visible universe, fundamentally incomplete, like trying to draw a map of a city based only on its streetlights? Does it imply that our very senses, our biological tools for interacting with reality, are woefully inadequate for grasping the universe's true nature? We pride ourselves on our capacity for reason and discovery, yet the vast majority of our cosmic home remains a profound enigma, a silent, invisible ocean in which we swim, largely unaware of its true currents and depths. What other fundamental forces, what other forms of existence might be swirling around us, completely beyond our current comprehension? This unsettling truth, far from diminishing our understanding, should ignite a profound sense of wonder and humility. It reminds us that reality is far grander, far stranger, and infinitely more mysterious than our limited perceptions allow us to grasp. It's a powerful invitation to continuously question, to push the boundaries of what we think we know, and to embrace the vastness of the unknown with curiosity rather than fear. The universe isn't just vast, it's mostly hidden, and that hiddenness is a testament to its profound complexity and our evolving journey of discovery. So, when you next gaze up at the night sky, past the comforting glow of familiar stars, consider the vast, silent, unseen majority that truly governs the cosmic dance. What does it mean to live in a universe where the most significant forces are those we cannot see, feel, or even name? You've peered into the cosmic silence, grappled with the invisible titans of dark matter and energy, and felt the immense weight of our ignorance regarding the universe's true composition. Now, let's consider a concept that takes this unsettling sense of hidden reality and turns it inward. Not just about what we can't see out there, but about the very nature of space and dimension itself. You experience the world in 3 dimensions: up, down, left, right, forward, back. This feels so fundamental, so self-evident. You walk through a room, reach for a cup, feel the solid mass of objects, all undeniably 3-dimensional. This perceived depth gives reality its richness, its tactile quality, its expansive feel. But what if this 3-dimensional reality, this vivid, immersive world you inhabit, is itself an elaborate projection? What if all the information needed to describe our seemingly 3-dimensional universe is actually encoded on a distant 2-dimensional surface, like a cosmic hologram? The unsettling truth, a profound idea emerging from theoretical physics, particularly in the study of black holes and quantum gravity, is the holographic principle. It suggests that our universe might be akin to a hologram, where the detailed 3-dimensional image we perceive arises from data stored on a flat, 2-dimensional boundary. Much like a regular credit card hologram projects a 3D image from a 2D surface, imagine a highly advanced projector, not beaming images onto a screen, but taking incredibly complex information etched onto a flat sheet and manifesting it as a fully immersive, seemingly 3-dimensional world around you. Every object, every person, every star you see would be a projection, a consequence of data residing on this distant, boundary surface. When you pick up that cup, when you walk across the room, the sensation of depth, the solidity, the entire 3-dimensional experience would be an incredibly convincing illusion generated from a flatter reality. It's like being inside a sophisticated virtual reality game. Only the hardware generating the experience isn't inside a computer. It's the very fabric of space-time itself. This isn't just a quirky thought experiment. Rigorous mathematical frameworks link the physics of our 3D universe to simpler 2D. Quantum field theories at its boundaries. The profound implications of this principle are truly mind-bending. If our reality is a projection, what does that say about its true nature? Are we living inside a cosmic theater, unaware of the flat screen from which our reality emanates? Does this mean that the fundamental stuff of the universe isn't particles or fields in 3D space, but information encoded on a distant surface? What would it mean for your sense of self, your very body, if it were merely a meticulously detailed projection? It challenges our deepest intuitions about space, about solidity, about what constitutes realness. Are you merely a ripple on a 2-dimensional sea, experienced as a profound, 3-dimensional being? This unsettling truth, while initially disorienting, offers a radical new lens through which to view existence. It doesn't diminish the beauty or complexity of our perceived reality. Rather, it imbues it with an even deeper layer of mystery and elegance. It suggests that reality, at its most fundamental level, might be far more interconnected and information-based than we ever conceived. Embracing the holographic principle invites us to move beyond our intuitive, limited understanding of dimensions and to consider the profound, interwoven nature of information and existence. So, the next time you reach out and grasp something seemingly solid, or marvel at the depth of a distant mountain range, pause and consider the possibility that it's all part of an exquisite, cosmic hologram. What deeper patterns, what hidden symmetries might reveal themselves if you began to perceive the universe not just as a space, but as a vast, unfolding projection of information.
You've navigated the stunning notion that reality might be a holographic projection, an intricate illusion born from a flatter, information-rich surface. This challenges the very solidity of your physical world. Now, let's bring it closer to home, to the very heart of your daily experience, decision-making. You feel intimately that you make choices. You decide what to eat for breakfast, which path to take to work, how to respond to a friend's message. This sense of agency, of being a singular entity at the helm of your actions, feels undeniably real. We live our lives believing that our choices are unique events unfolding in a linear timeline, culminating in a single, concrete outcome. But what if every single decision you make, every flicker of possibility, doesn't narrow down the future to a single path, but instead causes the universe to branch into countless parallel realities? The unsettling truth emerging from certain interpretations of quantum mechanics, particularly the many worlds interpretation NWI, is that every quantum event with multiple possible outcomes actually causes the universe to split, with each outcome realized in its own separate, coexisting reality. This means that not only are there infinite versions of you, but every choice you could make, you do make in some other universe. Imagine you're standing at a fork in the road, choosing between two paths. In your everyday experience, you pick one, and the other simply ceases to exist as a possibility. But under the many worlds interpretation, as you commit to one path, the universe instantaneously splits in one new universe. You walk down the left path, in another you walk down the right. And for every subtle variation in how you walk, how you breathe, how your atoms arrange themselves, there's a corresponding universe. It's not just about major life decisions. It's about every single quantum interaction, every electron spin, every photon's path. The universe isn't a single, unfolding story. It's an unimaginably vast, constantly bifurcating tree with an infinite number of branches, each representing a unique reality. When you choose, you are merely experiencing one branch while other versions of you are experiencing all the others. The profound implications of this concept are truly staggering. If every possibility is realized in some parallel universe, what does that mean for concepts like regret or missed opportunities? Did you truly miss out on that alternative career, that unsaid word, that untaken journey if another version of you is living it right now? Does this diminish the significance of your choices? If every path is taken by some version of yourself, what does it say about your individual identity if there are infinite copies of you, differing only in the myriad paths your lives have taken? It challenges the very notion of a singular self and the unique trajectory of your existence. Are you truly unique, or are you merely one expression within an infinite ensemble? This unsettling truth, while potentially dizzying in its scope, can also be profoundly liberating. It reframes regret not as a finality, but as an experience belonging to this specific branch of your reality. It highlights the preciousness of your conscious awareness on this particular path, for this is where you experience its unique joys and challenges. It invites you to embrace the infinite possibilities that exist, not as a source of anxiety over what could have been, but as a testament to the unimaginable richness of existence itself. Your choices here and now are immensely significant precisely because you are experiencing them on this particular branch. So, the next time you face a decision, big or small, pause and consider the silent, quantum whisper of branching realities. What new appreciation might you find for the unique path you are on, knowing that countless versions of you are traversing all the others? And how might this awareness change the way you value the choices you make right here, right now? In this universe, you've dived headfirst into the mind-bending possibilities of parallel universes, where every choice you could make, you do make in some other cosmic branch. This idea shatters the notion of a singular, deterministic path for your life. Now, let's consider a concept that takes the idea of reality as a construct to its ultimate, unsettling conclusion: the very real possibility that your entire existence, the universe you perceive and everything within it, is nothing more than a sophisticated computer simulation. This isn't just science fiction fodder anymore. It's a serious philosophical and even scientific hypothesis pondered by physicists, philosophers, and technologists alike. You live your life feeling the rough bark of a tree, the warmth of a loved one's hand, the searing taste of chili. These sensations feel too real, too vivid to be mere code. But what if these sensations, however convincing, are expertly rendered sensory inputs within a hyper-realistic simulation, akin to the most advanced virtual reality game imaginable, running on a colossal, incomprehensible supercomputer? The unsettling truth posited by the simulation hypothesis suggests that it is statistically more probable that we are living in a simulation than in base reality. If it's possible to create such simulations, and if technological civilizations tend to persist and advance then over vast stretches of cosmic time, many such simulations would likely be run. Given enough time and computing power, the number of simulated realities could far outnumber the single base reality, making it overwhelmingly likely that we are among the simulated. Imagine your entire world, from the farthest star to the closest atom, isn't made of fundamental particles but of algorithms and data. Every law of physics, every historical event, every memory you hold, all are lines of code, running on hardware we can't even begin to fathom. If this were true, there might be subtle glitches or anomalies, faint echoes of the underlying code breaking through the rendered surface. Some physicists playfully point to strange quantum phenomena, like particles seemingly knowing what other particles are doing instantly across vast distances, entanglement, or the seemingly arbitrary constants of the universe being perfectly tuned for life as potential hints. Are these fundamental laws merely lines in the program, or intentional settings made by a cosmic programmer? What if the speed of light isn't a cosmic constant but a processing limit, a rendering bottleneck in our simulated world? The profound implications of this hypothesis are truly staggering, touching every aspect of your perceived existence. If you are a simulated being, does free will truly exist? Or are your choices merely pre-programmed responses or emergent behaviors of complex algorithms? Does your consciousness, that inner light you feel, vanish when the simulation is paused or terminated? Or is it a persistent phenomenon that merely manifests within the code? What does it mean for purpose, for meaning, for love, if everything you experience is an artificial construct? It fundamentally questions the nature of your reality, your identity, and your place in the grand scheme of things. Are you merely a character in someone else's grand experiment? This unsettling truth, while potentially leading to profound existential vertigo, can also be strangely liberating. If reality is a simulation, then perhaps there are no true limitations beyond the code itself. It encourages a playful curiosity, a willingness to question everything and to look for patterns beyond the obvious. It suggests that your efforts, your creativity, your pursuit of meaning are incredibly significant within this simulated reality. Perhaps even the very purpose of the simulation itself. You are, in essence, living within a grand unfolding narrative, and your actions, your choices, still matter, offering a unique and invaluable experience within this digital cosmos. So, the next time you encounter something remarkably coincidental, or feel a peculiar sense of déjà vu, pause and consider the possibility that you've just experienced a tiny flicker, a brief echo, from the cosmic code. What new ways of experiencing and creating might open up for you if you began to perceive your reality as the most exquisite, intricate program ever devised? You've just confronted the profound, unsettling notion that your entire reality might be a meticulously crafted simulation, a grand program running on unseen processors. This idea challenges the very tangibility of your world and the independence of your choices. Now, let's bring it back to a concept equally mind-bending, but one that directly involves you in a way that's far more intimate than being a character. In a cosmic video game, the idea that your very act of observation fundamentally changes reality. You instinctively believe that reality exists independently of you. The moon is there whether you look at it or not. The tree falls in the forest regardless of whether anyone hears it. We are merely passive witnesses recording a pre-existing world. But what if this deeply ingrained common sense is fundamentally mistaken at the most microscopic levels of existence? What if the universe isn't a fixed stage upon which events unfold, but a fluid canvas that literally snaps into being through your conscious attention? The unsettling truth at the heart of quantum mechanics is that at the subatomic level, particles don't exist in a single, defined state until they are observed. Before observation, they exist in a superposition of all possible states simultaneously, a blur of potentiality. It's only the act of measurement or observation that forces them to choose one specific reality. Imagine a dice floating in mid-air. In your everyday world, it has a definite number facing up. Even if you haven't seen it yet, you just don't know what that number is. But in the quantum realm, before you look, the dice isn't showing any number. It's showing all numbers simultaneously. It's 6 faces at once, a shimmering cloud of numerical possibility. The moment you glance at it, the cloud collapses, and it settles on one specific number. Your act of looking, of interacting, of observing, literally creates that specific outcome from a field of possibilities. This isn't just a metaphor. It's demonstrated by experiments like the famous double-slit experiment, where particles behave as waves passing through both slits simultaneously when unobserved, but as particles passing through only one slit when observed. The very act of peering at them alters their behavior and, by extension, their reality. The profound implications of this observer effect are staggering, blurring the lines between mind and matter in an unprecedented way. If reality isn't fixed until observed, does that mean your consciousness, your awareness, plays an active role in birthing the universe you experience? Does the universe exist in a state of fuzzy potentiality until conscious beings interact with it? This challenges not just objective reality, but our very understanding of what it means to be a creator. Are we merely discovering the universe, or are we, through our very awareness, constantly contributing to its ongoing manifestation? What does it mean for the objects around you? Do they truly have a solid, definite existence when you're not looking, or are they, too, in a quantum haze of possibilities until your gaze falls upon them? This unsettling truth, far from reducing reality to a subjective whim, empowers you with a newfound understanding of your profound connection to existence. It doesn't mean you can wish a mountain into thin air, but it implies that your conscious attention, your focus, and your engagement with the world are far more significant than you ever believed. It encourages a deeper responsibility for what you choose to observe, to pay attention to. For in that act, you are participating in the very unfolding of reality around you. You are not just a witness, you are an active participant in the cosmic dance of creation. So, the next time you truly look at something, a dewdrop on a leaf, a flickering candle flame, the face of a loved one, consider the silent quantum whisper within that observation. What subtle realities are you bringing into being with your conscious gaze? And how might this profound understanding change the way you interact with the very fabric of your world, knowing that your hand, the observer's hand, helps paint its shifting canvas? You've grappled with the profound idea that your observation actively shapes reality, turning the familiar world into a canvas responsive to your gaze. This concept, born from the quantum realm, imbues your consciousness with an unexpected, almost creative power. Now, let's push the boundaries of time even further, beyond the linear flow you've already questioned, and delve into a concept so counterintuitive it might feel like a violation of common sense. The possibility that events in your future can, in some subtle and perhaps imperceptible way, influence your past or present. You naturally assume cause always precedes effect. Your actions today determine tomorrow's outcomes, not the other way around. The future is an unwritten book, sculpted solely by what has come before. But what if the arrow of time isn't as unidirectional as we perceive it? What if, in the strange interwoven tapestry of space-time, the future isn't merely a consequence of the past, but can, under specific circumstances or at a deeper level of reality, exert a subtle pull or influence backward through time, the unsettling truth hinted at by phenomena like retrocausality in quantum physics, and explored in various interpretations of quantum entanglement, suggests that in some scenarios, an effect might precede its cause, or that information about a future event could somehow be known or influence a past event. Imagine you're flipping a coin. You toss it, it spins and it lands. You then observe it, heads or tails. In our everyday understanding, the outcome was determined the moment it landed, if not sooner. But what if, in a quantum sense, the act of observing that coin, your future knowledge of its outcome, somehow nudged its behavior or its initial spin? This isn't about sending messages back in time, it's about a deeper, more fundamental interconnectedness where the flow of influence isn't strictly forward. Experiments like delayed choice experiments in quantum mechanics demonstrate that a choice made now about how to observe a particle can affect how that particle behaved in the past before the choice was even made. It's as if the universe is constantly adjusting its history to be consistent with future observations and outcomes. We, as conscious observers, seem to be participating in this cosmic dance of past-future consistency. The profound implications of this concept are truly staggering, challenging the very bedrock of our understanding of causality and free will. If your future can influence your past, even subtly, then where does genuine agency truly lie? Are your free choices merely aligning with a preordained future that is already, in some sense, influencing your present? Does this mean that destiny isn't a fixed path you're on, but rather a complex, two-way street where what's to come informs what has been? Our entire legal and moral systems are built on the premise of individual actions, leading to clear consequences. If consequences can ripple backward, how does that reshape our understanding of responsibility, blame, or even the concept of progress? What if your current aspirations aren't just pushing you forward, but also subtly reshaping the path you took to get here? This unsettling truth, while potentially disorienting, offers a radical reframing of your relationship with time and destiny. It empowers you with the idea that your present decisions aren't just isolated events, but part of a larger interconnected web where past, present, and future are deeply interwoven. It implies that by consciously shaping your future, your intentions, your desired outcomes, you might, in an unseen way, be sending ripples backward, subtly influencing the very conditions that led you to this moment. It imbues your dreams and aspiration with a profound, almost mystical power, suggesting they are not just wishes for tomorrow, but potential architects of your yesterday. So, the next time you set an intention or visualize a future goal, pause and consider the subtle, quantum echo it might be sending. What hidden connections, what unexpected alignments might be forming in your wake, subtly guided by the backward pull of your desired tomorrow? And how might this profound interconnectedness of time encourage you to live with even greater purpose and conscious intent, knowing that your future self might already be reaching back to guide you? You've journeyed through the astounding possibility of retrocausality, where your future self might subtly nudge the threads of your past, weaving an even more intricate tapestry of time. This quantum echo of tomorrow radically redefines your relationship with choice and consequence. Now, let's revisit the concept of the holographic universe, but with a new, even more unsettling layer. The idea that if reality is a simulation or a projection, it might not be perfectly smooth, perfectly continuous. What if, at the deepest levels, there are inherent limits to its resolution? Subtle pixels or voxels that betray its constructed nature. You experience the world as infinitely detailed, seamlessly flowing, the curve of a leaf, the smooth surface of water, the continuous motion of a bird in flight, all appear to possess boundless resolution, a testament to a truly continuous reality. But what if this perception of infinite detail is another carefully crafted illusion, a trick of the cosmic rendering engine? What if, when you zoom in close enough, or when the program hits its computational limits, the smooth curves and continuous motions break down into a fundamental grain, a cosmic pixelation that reveals the underlying code, the unsettling truth suggested by some physicists exploring the implications of the holographic principle and the finite nature of information, is that there might be a fundamental pixel size to reality, a minimum unit of space or time below which reality loses its smooth, continuous nature. This concept ties into ideas like Planck length and Planck time, which are the smallest theoretical units of distance and time at which our current understanding of physics still holds, beyond which space-time itself may break down into something more fundamental, perhaps a discrete informational structure. Imagine a high-definition video game. From a distance, the graphics are stunning, the world feels seamless and immersive. But if you get incredibly close to the screen, or if the game's engine is pushed to its limits, you start to see the individual pixels, the rough edges where polygons meet, the telltale signs of a digital construct. Similarly, in our universe, if you could probe reality at the Planck scale, unimaginably tiny distances and durations, you might find that space isn't infinitely divisible, but rather composed of discrete units like a shimmering fabric, woven from fundamental information. Scientists are even trying to detect these quantum pixels or space-time foam through incredibly precise experiments looking for cosmic background radiation, irregularities or gravitational wave echoes. If found, it would be direct evidence of a grainy rather than perfectly smooth reality. The profound implications of a pixelated reality are deeply unsettling. If space and time aren't continuous, then what does that mean for concepts like infinite possibility or the endless flow of motion? Does it imply that empty space isn't empty at all, but rather a grid of fundamental informational units? What would it mean for your own body, your very atoms, if they are ultimately just arrangements of these cosmic pixels? It suggests that our universe isn't just governed by physical laws, but by a deeper, almost computational logic, hinting at an underlying architecture. Are we living in a universe that is fundamentally digital rather than analog? This unsettling truth, while potentially dissolving the smooth edges of your perceived world, offers a fascinating and empowering perspective. It doesn't diminish the beauty or complexity of reality. Instead, it reveals an even deeper layer of ingenious design. It encourages you to marvel at the sheer computational power, whatever its source, that can render such a convincing, continuous illusion from discrete units. It shifts your focus from the apparent solidity of things to the underlying information that gives them form. Understanding the grain of reality can lead to a profound appreciation for the intricate dance between underlying code and emergent experience. So, the next time you perceive something exquisitely smooth, the surface of a perfectly polished stone, the seamless flight of a bird, pause and consider the possibility of the hidden pixels, the fundamental building blocks beneath the surface. What new mysteries, what new insights into the universe's true nature might reveal themselves if you began to look for the subtle glitches in the cosmic code, the inherent grain of reality itself? You've explored the disquieting possibility of a pixelated reality, a universe that might, at its deepest level, be composed of discrete units like a cosmic digital display. This idea challenges the very continuity of your physical existence. Now, let's return to the quantum realm, but this time, apply its most bizarre interpretations directly to your personal fate, pushing the boundaries of your sense of self and mortality. You live with the undeniable certainty of death. Every heartbeat, every breath brings you closer to an ultimate cessation, a finality that defines the preciousness and fragility of your existence. We understand that our conscious journey will eventually end, and that, for us, will be the absolute conclusion. But what if, from a specific and profoundly unsettling quantum perspective, your consciousness never truly ends? What if, at every moment of potential death, your awareness simply branches into a reality where you survive, continuing indefinitely? The unsettling truth, a controversial but compelling thought experiment known as quantum immortality, arises from the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. If every quantum measurement causes the universe to split into all possible outcomes, then at any given moment of potential demise, there would always be a branch where the quantum events aligned for your survival, and your consciousness would, Follow that branch. Imagine a perilous situation. You're faced with a choice that could lead to your death, or you're undergoing a dangerous medical procedure. In your conventional understanding, you either live or you die. But from the quantum immortality perspective, at the instant of that critical quantum event, say, the firing of a neuron or the breakdown of a cell that determines life or death, the universe splits. In one set of branches, the quantum dice roll results in your demise, but your consciousness does not experience those branches instead. Your consciousness always shifts to the branches where you survive, where the quantum outcomes permitted your continued existence. This means that, from the internal perspective of your consciousness, you would simply never experience your own death. You would only ever perceive the timeline where you continue to exist, leaping from one survival branch to the next eternally. The profound implications of this concept are staggeringly grim and exhilarating all at once. If your consciousness is quantumly immortal, does that diminish the value of life or the finality of decisions? If you can never truly die from your own perspective, does that remove the existential urgency that often drives us? What does it mean for loss and grief if the loved ones we mourn are simply continuing on different quantum branches, forever beyond our access in this particular reality? It blurs the lines between life and death in a deeply unsettling way, suggesting that death is always something that happens to others, never to the experiencing self. Are you trapped in an unending, solitary journey through only the survival timelines, forever leaving behind countless versions of yourself that died in other branches? This unsettling truth, while potentially isolating in its implications, offers a radical reframing of mortality. It doesn't mean you won't experience pain, illness, or the loss of loved ones in this experienced reality, but it shifts the ultimate nature of your own consciousness from a finite spark to an enduring, quantumly resilient phenomenon. It compels you to live with a heightened awareness of the present moment, understanding that your experience of existence is precious precisely because it is the thread your consciousness follows through the branching labyrinth of realities. It transforms the concept of survival from a lucky escape to a fundamental property of your awareness. So, the next time you face a moment of true peril, or simply reflect on the fragility of life, pause and consider the silent, quantum promise of continued awareness. What new meaning might you find in each breath, each heartbeat, knowing that from your own perspective, the story of you might be destined to unfold forever, a continuous echo through the infinite branches of the universe? You've navigated the dizzying promise of quantum immortality, a concept that suggests your consciousness, from its own perspective, might never truly end, instead branching into endless survival timelines. This takes the concept of self-preservation to a cosmic, disorienting extreme. Now, let's pull back from the speculative frontiers of quantum mechanics and confront a fundamental question about consciousness that is far more immediate, yet remains stubbornly, profoundly unanswered. Why and how does subjective experience arise from physical matter? You feel, undeniably, the redness of red, the taste of chocolate, the ache of a broken heart. These are your qualia, the raw, subjective feels of your experiences. We instinctively believe that these feelings are just complex outputs of your brain, explainable someday by neuroscience. But what if this assumption, that consciousness is merely a complicated machine, hits a wall that physics and biology, in their current forms, cannot surmount? What if the how of experience remains stubbornly beyond our grasp? The unsettling truth, known as the hard problem of consciousness, is precisely this: we can map brain activity, identify neural correlates of consciousness, and even predict what you'll perceive, but we have no coherent explanation for why these physical processes feel like anything at all. We understand what the brain does. We don't understand why it's like something to be a brain. Imagine you're examining an incredibly complex, intricately wired robot. You can understand every circuit, every line of code, every mechanical movement. You can predict its responses, its speech patterns, even its simulated emotions. But you can't tell why it would feel anything, or what it's like for the robot to be that robot. The robot might say it feels pain, but does it experience pain in the way you do? Our brains are immensely more complex than any robot, but the core problem remains. We can describe the firing of neurons, the chemical cascades, the electrical impulses, all correlating perfectly with your feeling of pain. But why do those physical events produce the subjective, agonizing sensation of pain? It's not just a matter of more data or better technology, it seems to be a conceptual chasm. We can explain function. We cannot explain experience. The profound implications of the heart problem strike at the heart of our scientific understanding, and even our self-perception. If consciousness cannot be fully reduced to physical processes, does that imply something non-physical is at play? Does it hint at a fundamental property of the universe that is not purely material? What does it mean for artificial intelligence? Can a machine truly be conscious? Or can it only ever simulate consciousness without ever having subjective experience? It challenges the very tenets of materialism, suggesting that there's a crucial piece missing from our grand scientific puzzle. If we cannot explain the simplest subjective feeling, how can we claim to understand the universe in its entirety? What if the very thing that makes you you is something inherently outside the realm of physical explanation? This unsettling truth, far from being a scientific dead end, is a profound invitation to humility and wonder. It reminds us that reality contains mysteries that push the boundaries of our current paradigms. It encourages a broader, more interdisciplinary approach to understanding existence, perhaps incorporating philosophical insights alongside scientific inquiry. It highlights the unique preciousness of your subjective experience precisely because it remains so utterly miraculous and unexplained. It forces you to confront the profound depth of what it means to simply be so. The next time you taste something delicious, or marvel at the intricate pattern of a snowflake, pause and truly lean into the experience. Consider the profound, unexplained gap between the physical processes in your brain and the undeniable, qualitative feel of that moment. What new appreciation might you gain for the mysterious, unknowable spark of your own consciousness, knowing that it remains the universe's most stubbornly profound secret? You've just pondered the profound enigma of the heart problem, the stubborn resistance of subjective experience to purely physical explanation, leaving your own consciousness as the universe's most tantalizing mystery. Now, let's bring it closer to your everyday sense of self, to the very notion of who you are across the passage of time. You feel a persistent, continuous identity. The you who woke up this morning, the you who remembers childhood memories, the you who plans for tomorrow, it all feels like a singular, unwavering entity. We believe that despite the changes we undergo, a core self remains, a constant amidst the flux. But what if this feeling of a continuous, unchanging self is another deeply comforting, yet ultimately misleading illusion? What if your identity isn't a fixed essence, but a constantly changing collection of parts, so fluid that the you of today shares almost nothing in common, physically or mentally, with the you of years past? The unsettling truth is elegantly captured by the ancient philosophical thought experiment, the ship of Theseus. If a ship is meticulously maintained over centuries and every single plank, every single nail, every single part is eventually replaced, piece by piece, is it still the same ship now? Apply this to yourself. Imagine your body. Every 7 to 10 years, virtually every cell in your body is replaced. The skin cells you have now are not the ones you had a month ago. The bone cells, while slower, are constantly being renewed. Your red blood cells turn over every few months. You are, quite literally, a constantly regenerating biological vessel. But it's not just your physical form. Your memories are not fixed archives, but dynamic narratives. As we've already explored, your beliefs shift, your opinions evolve. Your personality matures or changes in response to experiences. The knowledge you possess is continually updated. The skills you have acquired were once unknown to you. The you of childhood, with its unique fears, joys, and understanding of the world, is profoundly different from the you reading this right now. If every component, physical, mental, and emotional, is continually replaced, at what point do you cease to be you and become someone entirely new? The profound implications of the ship of Theseus applied to the self are deeply unsettling. If there's no fixed, immutable core to your identity, then what defines your continuity? Is it merely the narrative you tell yourself, a story of me, that bridges the gaps between continually replaced parts? Does this diminish the concept of personal responsibility if the person who committed an act years ago is, in a very real sense, no longer the same biological and psychological entity? What does it mean for your relationships, your career, your life goals, if the very subject experiencing them is a constantly evolving, permeable entity? It challenges the fundamental notion of a singular, enduring soul or essence. This unsettling truth, far from dissolving your sense of self into meaningless chaos, offers a powerful and liberating reframing. It reveals that your identity is not a rigid statue, but a dynamic, living process, a continuous act of becoming. It empowers you to shed the limitations of past selves, to embrace growth and change, and to consciously shape the you that is continually emerging. You are not defined by fixed components, but by the ongoing process of integration and evolution. The continuity isn't in the static parts, but in the ongoing flow of experience and self-narration. So, the next time you reflect on your past or project into your future, pause and consider the silent, continuous replacement happening within you, both physically and mentally. What new freedom might you discover in realizing that you are not bound by a fixed self, but are constantly creating and recreating who you are, plank by plank, moment by moment by moment? You've confronted the unsettling reality that yourself is not a fixed, immutable entity, but a constantly regenerating and evolving narrative, much like the ship of Theseus. This fluidity challenges the very concept of individual permanence. Now, let's expand that idea of impermanence and apply it to your perceived separation from everything else in the universe. You walk through the world feeling distinctly separate from the air you breathe, the ground beneath your feet, the people you interact with. We define ourselves by our boundaries, our individual skins, our distinct thoughts, assuming a fundamental isolation from the vastness around us. But what if this feeling of absolute separation, of being a discrete, self-contained unit, is yet another profound illusion? What if, at the deepest, most fundamental levels of reality, you are inextricably interwoven with everything else, a part of a single, vast, dynamic whole? The unsettling truth, a cornerstone of quantum field theory, and echoed in many ancient philosophies, is that there are no truly isolated particles or entities in the universe. Everything is fundamentally interconnected, part of a cosmic web where energy and information flow continuously, blurring the lines of individuality. Imagine not a collection of separate beads on a string, but a vast, shimmering, interconnected spider's web stretching across the cosmos. Every point on the web is influenced by every other point. When a fly lands on one part, the entire web subtly vibrates in quantum field theory. What we perceive as particles are not tiny, solid balls, but localized excitations or vibrations within universal fields that permeate all of space. An electron isn't a distinct object, it's a ripple in the electron field. A photon is a flicker in the electromagnetic field. Your body, your thoughts, the chair you sit on, the distant galaxy, all are temporary arrangements of energy within these fundamental fields. We are not separate objects interacting, we are continuous, interacting patterns within a single, unified quantum dance. The very atoms that make up your body were forged in the hearts of dying stars, scattering their essence across the cosmos before ray-forming into you. You are, quite literally, stardust intricately linked to the birth and death of galaxies. The profound implications of this radical interconnectedness are deeply unsettling to our ego-driven sense of self. If you are not fundamentally separate, then where does your individuality truly reside? Does this mean that the suffering of another, or the destruction of a distant ecosystem, is not just morally concerning, but a literal wound to the larger self of which you are a part? It challenges the very concepts of ownership, of competition, of isolated striving. Our societal structures, our legal systems, Our economic models are built on the premise of distinct, competing individuals. If this premise is a fundamental illusion, how does it reshape our understanding of ethics, responsibility, and collective well-being? Are our individual thoughts and actions not just ripples in our personal pond, but vibrations in the cosmic web affecting everything? This unsettling truth, far from dissolving your unique identity, offers a profoundly liberating and expansive perspective. It imbues your existence with an extraordinary depth of meaning and purpose. It reveals that your actions, your compassion, your very being are not isolated events, but contribute directly to the intricate tapestry of reality. You are not a solitary island, but an integral part of a vast, living, breathing universe. It invites a deeper sense of empathy and collective responsibility, recognizing that harm to any part is harm to the whole, and that love shared is love, reverberating through the entire cosmic fabric. So, the next time you feel that fundamental loneliness or marvel at the intricate dance of nature, pause and consider the invisible, unbreakable threads that connect you to everything. What new sense of belonging, what profound shifts in your actions might emerge if you truly embraced the realization that you are not just in the universe, but an inseparable, intricate part of its very being, a vibrant node in the cosmic spider's web. You've immersed yourself in the profound interconnectedness of all things, recognizing that your perceived individuality is merely a localized pattern within a vast cosmic web. This challenges the very notion of a separate you. Now, let's bring it even closer to the most intimate and often overlooked aspect of your own daily experience, the thin, often permeable boundary between your conscious, waking reality and the vivid, immersive world of your dreams. You intuitively understand the difference. Dreams are ephemeral, often illogical, distinct from the solid, predictable reality of wakefulness. We assume our waking world is the stable, undeniable anchor of existence. But what if this distinction, this clear line we draw between the real and the imagined, is far more tenuous than you realize? What if the mechanisms by which your brain constructs the convincing reality of your dreams are remarkably similar to how it constructs your waking world, leading to the unsettling possibility that your reality is just the most persistent, most consensus-driven of all your internal simulations? The unsettling truth, explored in neuroscience and philosophy, is that the brain often operates in predictive, internally generated models, blurring the lines between external input and internal creation. In dreams, your brain generates an entire world complete with sensory details, narratives, and emotional resonance, without any external sensory input. What if waking reality is just a more robust version of that same internal generation? Imagine you are in a dream. You see, hear, feel, and even smell things with startling clarity. The narratives, however bizarre, feel utterly real in the moment. Your brain is generating all of this from within. Now, consider your waking life. Your brain is still receiving sensory input, but it's also constantly predicting, filling in gaps, and constructing a coherent narrative from that input, as we discussed in earlier parts. The difference, then, isn't that waking reality is external and dreams are internal. The difference is the source of the initial data and the degree of consensus your brain has with others. Your brain is a dream machine always on. When you're awake, the external world provides strong, consistent feedback that constrains the dream, keeping it anchored to a shared reality. But the fundamental internal generative process remains the same. The occasional glitches in perception, like optical illusions, or phantom limb sensations or moments of derealization where the world feels unreal, are brief, unsettling glimpses of this unstable anchor. We also share collective dreams, the cultural narratives, beliefs, and societal norms that we collectively agree upon as real. The profound implications of this porous boundary are deeply disorienting. If waking reality is a sophisticated, consensus-driven dream, what does that mean for concepts like objective truth or hard facts? Does it suggest that our grip on reality is far more fragile than we care to admit, dependent on the brain's continuous, tireless construction work? What if moments of intense creativity, profound insight, or even certain altered states of consciousness are merely instances where the dream machine shifts its input or loosens its anchors, allowing for different, yet equally internally consistent, realities to manifest. It challenges the very definition of sanity if the foundation of all experience is a complex, internally generated simulation. This unsettling truth, far from reducing your reality to nothingness, offers a powerful invitation to deeper understanding and a profound appreciation for the miraculous complexity of your own mind. It encourages you to explore the nature of your own consciousness with renewed curiosity, recognizing its incredible capacity to create worlds. It empowers you to consciously question your assumptions, to seek out new perspectives, and to recognize the profound influence of shared narratives and collective agreement in shaping what we all perceive as real. Your life is not just in a reality. It is a reality, constantly being dreamed into being. So, the next time you wake from a vivid dream, or find yourself lost in thought during your day, pause and consider the thin veil between these states. What new insights might you gain into the incredible generative power of your own mind, knowing that the reality you inhabit, even now, is being dreamt into existence, moment by moment, by you and by us all, You've navigated the unsettling fluidity between waking reality and a dream state, recognizing your mind's extraordinary power to construct worlds. This journey has shown you that what feels undeniably real is often a sophisticated, consensual projection. Now, let's shift our focus from the how of reality's construction to the why of its unfolding, specifically concerning the events that shape your life. You instinctively believe in cause and effect, in rational consequences. When something happens, you search for a reason, a preceding event that directly led to it. We feel that our lives and the world around us largely operate on predictable principles, a chain of events where each link is logically connected to the next. But what if, at a fundamental level, the universe isn't as deterministic or predictable as we perceive it to be? What if chance, randomness, and the baffling dance of probabilities play a far more significant, even foundational, role in shaping your life and the cosmos than you ever imagined? The unsettling truth, deeply embedded in quantum mechanics and evident in complex systems like weather patterns or stock markets, is that the universe often operates not on certainties, but on probabilities, constantly weaving a tapestry of possibilities, where any given outcome is merely the most likely, not the only, or even guaranteed one. Imagine a colossal, cosmic loom. Instead of weaving with threads of certainty, it weaves with threads of likelihood. Each thread represents a possible outcome, and the loom doesn't force one thread to emerge, but subtly nudges it based on its probability. When you flip a coin, you expect a 50/50th chance, but quantumly, before it lands, it's not just heads or tails, it's a superposition of both, a cloud of probability. When it lands, the cloud collapses into one outcome, but the underlying mechanism isn't a fixed destiny. Even in macroscopic events, the apparent certainty is often the result of an unimaginably high probability, not an absolute guarantee. A supposedly random mutation in your DNA, a chance encounter with a stranger, a sudden shift in global climate. These aren't always direct consequences of a linear chain. They are often emergent properties of incredibly complex systems, or simply the realization of a low probability event that nonetheless could happen, and did. The laws of physics are often expressed as probabilities, not what will happen, but what is most likely to happen. The universe isn't following a script. It's playing out the odds constantly. The profound implications of this probabilistic universe are deeply unsettling to our need for control and predictability. If randomness is a fundamental force, how much of your life is truly within your control? Are your successes and failures entirely a result of your actions? Or are they also partly the outcome of countless unseen rolls of the cosmic dice? What does it mean for fairness, for justice, if the universe itself isn't a perfectly logical machine, but one that sometimes deals out outcomes based on sheer chance? It challenges our deepest desire for meaning and order, hinting at a universe that is far more whimsical and unpredictable than we prefer to acknowledge? What if the very structure of reality is more akin to a game of chance than a perfectly engineered clockwork? This unsettling truth, far from reducing your life to a meaningless series of random events, offers a powerful reframing of agency and resilience. It encourages you to embrace uncertainty, to find comfort in the unpredictable nature of existence, and to recognize the inherent freedom that comes from a universe not bound by rigid determinism. It shifts your focus from striving for absolute control to cultivating adaptability, curiosity, and an openness to unexpected possibilities. While you cannot control the probability of every event, you can control your response to its unfolding, your willingness to pivot, to learn, and to navigate the ever-shifting landscape of likelihood. So, the next time you marvel at a surprising turn of events or grapple with an unforeseen challenge, pause and consider the silent, unseen hand of probability at play. What new sense of wonder, what new capacity for embracing the unknown might emerge if you began to perceive your life not just as a straight path, but as a dynamic dance on the cosmic loom of likelihood, where every thread holds a spectrum of possibilities? You've journeyed through the probabilistic dance of existence, sensing the unseen hand of chance weaving the tapestry of your life. This has loosened your grip on absolute certainty, replacing it with the fluid reality of likelihood. Now, we arrive at the culmination, a return to where we began, but with a profound, almost dizzying twist. The idea that your consciousness, your mind, is not merely in the universe, but is, in a profound and unsettling way, a mirror of the universe itself, encompassing its vastness and its mysteries within its own structure. You feel your mind as your own, a contained space where thoughts and feelings reside, distinct from the external world. We treat our inner world as separate, a private chamber reflecting but not embodying the cosmos. But what if this perceived separation is the ultimate illusion, the final veil? What if the universe isn't just something you perceive, but something you are, not just metaphorically, but in a deeper, isomorphic sense? The unsettling truth, a concept that echoes in ancient spiritual traditions and finds surprising parallels in modern scientific theories like integrated information theory (IIT) or certain interpretations of panpsychism, is that the complexity, the patterns, the very laws of the cosmos are reflected, perhaps even generated, within the intricate workings of your own mind. Your mind isn't just observing the universe, it's a fractal of it, containing its essence. Imagine holding a tiny, perfect holographic shard. In that shard, if magnified infinitely, you could potentially find information about the entire hologram from which it was broken. Or consider a vast, intricate network like the internet. Individual nodes are distinct, but the entire structure, its emergent properties and flow of information is present in the collective. Similarly, your brain, with its billions of neurons and trillions of connections, mirrors the complexity and interconnectedness of the cosmos. The patterns of neural firing, the emergent properties of consciousness, are they simply local phenomena, or are they a localized manifestation of universal patterns? From the spiral of a galaxy to the spiral of your DNA, from the fractal branching of lightning to the fractal branching of your neurons, the universe repeats its patterns at every scale. Your mind, then, becomes the ultimate echo chamber, reverberating with the very architecture of existence. The hard problem, that mystery of subjective experience, begins to whisper its answer. Perhaps consciousness is what it's like for the universe to know itself through us. We are not just in the universe, we are the universe experiencing itself. The profound implications of this ultimate interconnectedness dissolve the final vestiges of separation. If your mind reflects the universe, then understanding yourself becomes the ultimate path to understanding the cosmos. Is the subjective experience of time not just an illusion, but a unique way the universe experiences its own unfolding through your awareness? Are your thoughts not just internal whispers, but localized manifestations of a universal stream of information? It blurs the lines between inner and outer, suggesting that the journey inward is simultaneously a journey outward into the infinite. This challenges the very notion of objective knowledge existing independently of a conscious mind. If the mind is a reflection, then all knowledge is intrinsically intertwined with the knowing. This unsettling truth, far from inducing a sense of insignificance, culminates in a powerful or inspiring liberation. It elevates your consciousness to a cosmic significance, positioning you not as a passive observer, but as a microcosm of the universe itself. It grants you an inherent, undeniable belonging to the grandest tapestry of existence. Your potential for understanding, for creating, for experiencing is limitless because the universe itself, in all its complexity, resides within you. You are the universe's way of looking back at itself, of questioning, of marveling, of remembering, of dreaming. So, the next time you look inward, delving into your deepest thoughts, feelings, and memories, pause and consider the boundless space you inhabit within. What profound revelations about the universe, what hidden truths about reality might unveil themselves when you truly realize that your own mind is not just a part of the cosmos, but an infinite mirror reflecting its entirety, making you the universe's most extraordinary echo.